welcome back to the Couch to 5K series in which I go through every single run. I talk to you about my experiences and how the run went, what my feelings were like during the run, and anything I've learned from these runs so far. So, if we follow the trend of where I've been going so far, this will be run number 12. So, if you've been following me from run to run, you will realize that I am now on week 4 and I would have completed run number 3, so that will be run 12 of the program. So let's dive into how it went. So when I woke up this morning, I felt very, very sluggish. I don't remember having a good night's sleep, and the desire to run wasn't there. It just wasn't. But despite these circumstances, I ran anyway. And I ran, it was a cold, dull, grey morning. Typical British weather at this time of year, being September now. What I want to say here is don't let any circumstances detract you from your mission. Don't let anything get in the way, especially not the weather. I'm going to repeat that one more time. Do not let any circumstances detract you from your mission. So, in terms of how the run went, I started off quite well and I managed to start off at a comfortable jogging pace. I was able to just go into it and just sort of breeze into it. Got off to an okay start, and I was just slowly trickling along. And with this run, every run in week 4 stays exactly the same, and I'll show you the running structure, which will show that nothing has changed. Every run you complete in week 4 will be a repetition of the first run you do. So if you look at the running structure there, you will see that nothing's changed. You'll run for 3, you'll rest, then run for 5, rest, and repeat that block one more time. So you'll be running for 3, 5, 3, and 5. You're doing 16 minutes in total, just like the previous 2 runs, and nothing will change there. As I got towards the latter half of this run, something started to feel off, and I can't really point towards what exactly it was. What I can remember though is I started coasting all the way through this latter half of the run, the first run of the half. First run of the half. The first half of the run went quite swimmingly. Like I didn't have any issues. I was able to maintain a comfortable jogging pace and was kind of just going through the motions really. I was just trickling along nicely and I didn't feel any fatigue as of yet, and I was able just to run and enjoy the music playing. As I got towards the second half of the run, this is when I really started to tire, and I'm not sure why I felt so. I'm trying to think of the best word. Fatigued. I don't know why I felt so fatigued on the latter half of this run. On the previous 2 runs I've done in week 4, I haven't felt as tired as I did on this run, so I'm not sure what exactly was the problem. But on the surface of it, if you are to go on 12 runs like I have, you're bound to have a run where you feel completely miserable, or not miserable, you're bound to have a run where things don't go your way, or it's slightly tougher than you think, and you have to really push and stay in the run. And that's what I sort of did today. I think this was a bit of a mental challenge. Towards the second half of this run, I really wanted to give up. And on the running structure, I'll show you exactly where I really felt like giving up. So you'll see how the run is divvied up into running and walking. I think I'll highlight exactly where I started to really feel tired and really wanted to stop running essentially. So something just felt completely off, as I said. My legs just didn't feel as stable. They felt a little bit shaky. And this hasn't really happened before. If I had to give a clear explanation, I would just say that maybe it's just fatigue from all the runs I've done over the past few weeks. Maybe it's starting to catch up to me a little bit. And maybe I needed a little bit more time to rest before going on this run, but I went on it anyway. And perhaps I should have taken an extra day. I'm not entirely sure, but despite my sort of body feeling this way, I embraced this challenge and I had to take and embrace some humility. And what I mean is, instead of trying to match the pace I started with in the first half of the run, I used my initiative and decided to slow down to just quicker than a walking pace and just keep jogging very slowly, but make sure that I do not stop at any point during the run. And I slowed my pace right the way down, and I decided to turn my attention and focus to my breathing. And the reason I did this was that I was obviously very fatigued and I wasn't really sure why, but I wanted to make sure I didn't stop at any point and just slowed my pace right down to something I could manage and keep moving forward with. And I focused on my breathing, as I said, and just slowed myself right down and sort of regained a little bit of composure and started taking a few deep inhales and deep exhales. And as I started to really pay attention to my breathing, I sort of got myself together and was able to get through the rest of the run. And one thing I learned on this run is that running isn't about speed. It's about building a bulletproof mindset and ensuring you continue when things are going tough. Obviously, use your initiative and decide when to make the right decision on whether to continue or whether to take a step back and perhaps slow down or even stop. That's up to you. In my case, I didn't feel like I had an injury or serious discomfort. So in my case, yes, I could have kept going, and I did. If you are experiencing like very serious pains, or perhaps you happen to get an injury for any reason, obviously stop and slow down and try and address the problem there and then. But if you're just feeling fatigued and slightly low on energy, by all means, try not to stop. Try and keep going. You want to try and reinforce this idea that you are a runner. You're not someone who gives up. You're someone who's resilient. You're someone who, when the going gets tough, you stick by your guns and you keep pushing no matter what, because that's who you are. Eventually, I got through the run and was able to cool down and just reflect on my experience of the run I had just been on. And what I can say was, it wasn't one of my most pleasant runs. In fact, it's perhaps one of my worst. And I'm not ashamed to admit that at all. It definitely didn't go how I wanted it to, but I was able to complete it in the end. And if I was able to take a step back and look at all my runs so far, yes, this might not have been the greatest run, but I still got out there and went on it anyway. And because I did that, that will mean I will take one step closer to achieving my goal of running a 5K because I went on this run today. because I was able to stick it out and see it through to the end, that's sort of reinforcing and sort of building this mentality and this idea that I'm not someone who's going to stop when things are tough. I'm someone who's going to stick it through and see it all the way through to the end. I'm not someone who's going to stop when I feel a little bit of discomfort or I feel slightly fatigued. I'm going to make sure I complete it and go all the way. So that's a wrap in terms of this run today. I'm going to throw in a little screenshot from Strava which will show you my statistics and running time and metrics, and I'll catch you in the next run.